Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is once again retesting this crucial level on the price chart as the price is continuing to bounce from this important area of support in the immediate short term. But we now have a new warning signal that we need to pay attention to. So in just a moment, I'll be sharing how to make very easy profits in the crypto market right now, which is exactly what I'm currently doing with my own money, while the price of Ethereum is also bouncing from this exact area of support in the short term, while the price of XRP is also once again bouncing and still holding this important area on the daily XRP price chart. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and I'll keep this quick because not a lot has changed over the last one day. So the super trend indicator still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And the point where this would start to flip into the red is this point right here. If we confirm a break below that point at roughly 95 to 96,000. And of course, on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which is already confirmed and has already been playing out over the last few weeks and will likely continue to play out at least over the next few weeks, possibly even a period of months where the price is lacking bullish momentum, showing a lot of weakness, at least here on the larger timeframes. But if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, right now the price of Bitcoin is once again retesting this important line on the price chart based on previous support, which is currently acting as a bit of a resistance in the short term, and that's sitting at just under 111,000. So really in between 110.5k to 111,000. Expect a lot of resistance around there in the short term. And if we're taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, obviously the price, at least for now, is somewhat range bound in a bit of a sideways price range, bouncing around between support and resistance. So over the last couple of days here, we perfectly bounced from this area of support, sitting in between around 106.5k to 107,000. So still expect a lot of support around there. And if we were to break below that area, expect more support at roughly 105,500. And as for resistance to watch out for, if we continue this short-term bounce here, expect some resistance at around 111.6k to 112k, in that range right there, just under 112,000, and a lot of resistance in between 115.5k to 116,000, which is pretty much perfectly where we rejected from at this local high. And so overall, we don't really have a lot of momentum to either direction, at least in the shorter term. We're simply just bouncing around in a bit of a sideways price range, which is consistent with what we're seeing on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, playing out a larger bearish divergence. Remember, this does not always result in a massive crash. It can possibly just be in a sideways consolidation, chopping around sideways, but also possibly a bit more of a pullback. In other words, weakness or lacking bullish momentum is still likely what we're going to see over the next few weeks or months. But obviously during that, from time to time, of course, we can see shorter term bullish moves, little bounces towards the upside, as we can see by that example right here. Chopping around sideways, for example, does contain at least some short term bullish moves here and there, like the current bounce that we're seeing from this area of support. But overall, in terms of the momentum or the trend, not looking overly bullish, at least for now, actually looking quite neutral. And so when it comes to my trading strategy, how do I plan to make a lot of easy profits right now in this Bitcoin market when the price is not really pumping straight to the moon? Well, believe it or not, you can make a lot of very easy and passive profits during a sideways price range just like this, using what's known as a grid bot trading strategy, which is essentially a trading bot that automatically buys as soon as the price has little dips like this. Whether it's a quick dip or a larger dip like this, it automatically buys low, and then the moment we see any little bounce back towards the upside, it sells that Bitcoin at higher prices to automatically take profits. So basically, while we chop around sideways like this, it makes easy passive profits in the market. And no, I'm not just talking BS here. I am putting my money where my mouth is. You can see the numbers for yourself. The numbers do not lie. Obviously, I can refresh this page right here for yourself. This is on my Pinex account. And as you can see right here, and I have been sharing this every day over the last 2 weeks now, for over 2 weeks now, ever since I opened the trading strategy. You can see right here lasting over 15 days right now, easily making some passive profits in this Bitcoin market as time goes on. And so once again, you can see right here on my Pinex account a bunch of buy orders and sell orders. That's essentially the grid of orders for the grid bot, the grid trading bot, which automatically buys Bitcoin if we see any sort of dip or dump in the price, automatically sells Bitcoin if we see a bounce. So if the price bounces around sideways like this, that's actually perfect price action for this trading strategy. And so over the last one day, I've really made no new changes to this trading strategy, because why change something if it's continuing to make easy passive profits for you? Obviously, ideally, you would want something to just keep making easy passive profits for you. Who does not like easy money coming into their account basically every day? And the great thing about this trading bot of mine is that if you want to, as always, not financial advice, no guarantees, but if you want to, you can copy this exact trading strategy of mine using the second link below the video. In fact, that second link below this video will take you to this page right here, where you can simply copy this trading strategy, copy the bot with a single click of a button. You can simply click this button right here to copy this exact trading strategy that I myself have been using for over 2 weeks now, as you can see right here on that page by using that second link below the video. And you can see pretty much all of the information about this trading strategy, the exact profits it's been making, the prices of Bitcoin, and how long it's been lasting for, the exact time I opened the trading strategy. All of that you can see on this page right here using that second link below this video. But unfortunately, you won't be able to copy this trading strategy if you don't have a Pinex account using one of the links to actually make your account, because this right here is obviously set up on my Pinex account, which is basically a famous exchange for these grid trading bots. And so, of course, in order to actually copy this trading strategy, because it's set up over on Pinex, you will need a Pinex account. But this copy button will only work if you actually made the Pinex account using one of the links below the video to actually make your account in order to copy this trading strategy. And if you're using the first link below this video to make your Pinex account, that first link will take you to this page right here, where you can also claim some massive bonuses just by making an account, completing KYC too. You get a 50 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. And without even doing that, if you just make some deposits using the link below the video, if you deposit $100, you get a $100 bonus. If you deposit $10,000, you get a $1,000 bonus into your Pinex account. So basically free money from the exchange, which you can then go ahead to use that money to actually open these trading strategies if you want to, just by simply making deposits, completing KYC, etc. But only if you use that link. Once again, if you don't use that link, unfortunately, you can't claim any of these bonuses right here. And also, if you don't use the links below the video to make your account, unfortunately, you can't copy this trading strategy. The copy button simply will not work. But that's just an update on my trading strategy right now for the price of Bitcoin, continuing to make easy profits in this Bitcoin and crypto market. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can see that right now we still have a lot of liquidity building below the price of Bitcoin at roughly 106,000, really in between 105.8k to 106.1k. We have a lot of liquidity building below the price of Bitcoin right there. In other words, a bunch of long positions would likely get completely wiped out of the market if the price of Bitcoin hits roughly 106,000 or dips slightly below 106,000 to wipe out that liquidity. And so due to this reason, that's just a possible risk. As always, there's no such thing as a 100% guarantee. I cannot guarantee you that the price is going to go there, but there is a likely chance, there is a possible risk that we need to be aware of, that the price could retest these lows just to simply grab that liquidity to wipe out those positions at those levels. So be aware of that. It's not impossible to see that. In fact, it could be likely to see that at some stage in the coming days or in the next week or so, while the price continues kind of just chopping around sideways. It's possible we could see a move like that to take out that liquidity. So just keep that in mind. That is a risk that we need to be aware of. But whether we see that or not, it does not matter when it comes to my trading strategy. Obviously, if the price pumps right now, my trading strategy makes money. If the price dips like that to take out the liquidity and then sees a bounce, my trading strategy makes money. It doesn't matter what happens between now and then. For as long as we see some sort of bounce in the price, my trading strategy makes easy money. But if you want more of a no KYC exchange for long positions, short positions, etc., for those sort of things, personally, I like to use 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also use myself. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below the video. In fact, the third link below the video will take you to this page where you can also claim some massive bonuses just by making an account, making a deposit, making trades using the link below the video to 2bit. For example, you can get up to 10,000 USDT in trial fund bonuses and 8,000 USDT in actual withdrawable stable coins. And on top of that, without making any deposits or any trades, you can claim a $30 sign up bonus and 1 month free VIP3 upgrades. So basically very cheap trading fees over on 2bit and essentially free money from the exchange just by simply making an account. It takes 30 seconds to do this using that third link below the video to 2bit. So I'm just simply sharing this so that if you want to, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well take advantage of all of these bonuses here set up by the exchange. But once again, all of this right here is only available if you're using that link. And in case you're wondering, once again, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame. And right now, the Bitcoin dominance is still playing out the bullish divergence, which means overall expect potentially a bit of choppy sideways price action here and there, but for the most part, a slight bullish relief as really what I've been expecting every day since the bullish divergence confirmed all the way back down here over a month ago. And so overall, not a lot has changed for the Bitcoin dominance over the last 1 day. Basically continue to expect the same price action that we've seen over the last 1 to 2 weeks moving forward for the Bitcoin dominance, at least over the next few days or weeks is a very likely scenario, which means a lot of the major altcoins out there on average will likely be performing similar or maybe slightly worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing. So keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is still to some degree being influenced by this bullish divergence. We haven't really seen a strong confirmation signal to properly invalidate the bullish divergence right here, which means it's still potentially influencing the price of Ethereum. But obviously, as I've been saying, especially recently here on the channel, don't expect a lot of bullish momentum out of a bullish divergence by itself. A bullish divergence basically is there to tell us to expect a bit of a break in all of the bearish momentum. In other words, either a slight bullish relief or some choppy sideways price action. And we're definitely seeing the latter. Obviously, over the last couple of weeks, we have been seeing a lot of choppy sideways price action. And when I talked about that right around here, immediately after that flash crash, a lot of people, as soon as we saw that major bounce, told me that I was going to be completely wrong about the choppy sideways price action coming over the next couple of weeks. A lot of people right here were thinking that we're now on the recovery towards all-time highs. But obviously, over the last few weeks, we ultimately continued the choppy sideways price action that I've been talking about every day since the moment we saw that flash crash right here. And so continue to expect that to play out as predicted. And if we're taking a look at this 8-hour Ethereum price chart, right now the price is just bouncing around between this area of support and especially this area of resistance. But we also have this area to watch out for as well. First of all, this area of support is sitting in between around 37.20 to 37.60. And this area of resistance is sitting in between around 40.60 to 4.1K. And this massive area of resistance here is sitting in between around 42.50 to 42.80. And it's also possible we could find a small amount of resistance right here based on this short-term resistance sitting at approximately 39.50. So in the mid 3.9K range, acting as potentially a bit of short-term resistance as well. But overall, those are the key levels to watch out for in the somewhat shorter term for Ethereum in terms of support and resistance. And of course, for now, in terms of the momentum, we're actually looking relatively neutral. We don't really have a significant amount of bullish momentum, but in the meantime, we also don't have a significant amount of bearish momentum while we're in this sideways price range. We're just kind of bouncing around sideways. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, right now Solana is continuing to reject from this exact area of resistance sitting in between around 190 to 200. So continue to expect a lot of resistance in that area. And if we actually break out above 200 with confirmation and hold above that level, in that situation, expect expect to move at least up towards around $209, $210 as the next short-term resistance, and above that expect significant resistance at around $230. And as for support, if we continue a bit more of a rejection here, expect a lot of support at roughly 170 to 175. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term, we can see that right now the price of Solana in terms of the momentum or the price structure is somewhat similar to Ethereum. Obviously, we could see short-term bullish moves, short-term bearish moves, but overall, we're actually in a bit of a sideways price range, quite similar to Ethereum and Bitcoin, at least in the short term, bouncing between support and resistance. First of all, we have a lot of support really in between around 177 to 179 approximately based on these lows right here, and potentially a bit of resistance at roughly 196, also around $203, and a lot of resistance at around $209 as well. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, we're still playing out this massive bearish divergence that I warned about months ago here on the channel. So not a lot has changed over the last one day for this bearish divergence on the weekly XRP price chart. And if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, obviously right now we're continuing to hold and currently bouncing from this exact golden pocket area of support, sitting in between around $2.30 to $2.40. So continue to expect support in that area, which means potential bounces from that area, which so far we're currently seeing once again. And if we continue a little bit more of a bounce here, expect a lot of resistance to come into play in between roughly $2.60 to $2.70, which is exactly where we rejected from. And obviously, if you've been watching my channel, watching my videos over the last few weeks, you know that I've been warning about that area of resistance since before we just perfectly rejected from that area. And so basically just continue to focus on the same areas of support and resistance that I've already been saying for a while now on the channel, because the price is continuing to perfectly bounce from this support and perfectly reject from this resistance. And overall, in terms of the shorter term structure, we're in a sideways price range, bouncing between support and resistance. The larger structure is clearly bearish. We're in a larger bearish trend on the daily XRP price chart, forming lower highs and lower lows, playing out this much larger bearish divergence, as we could see, lacking bullish momentum, showing a lot of weakness. But the short-term situation is that we're currently within just a shorter-term sideways price range, bouncing between support and resistance, looking relatively neutral in the shorter term. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink, it's a similar situation for Chainlink as what I just said for XRP. But if anything, Chainlink is perhaps slightly more bearish than what I just said for XRP, mainly when we're talking about the shorter term. Obviously, both XRP and Chainlink are technically within these larger bearish trends. If we're looking at the larger structure, they're both technically looking bearish on the daily time frame, forming lower highs and lower lows, but XRP is very much within a bit of a sideways price range. In fact, we recently formed a slight higher high. The price of Chainlink, on the other hand, is obviously not forming higher highs. We actually just formed another lower high. So if anything, Chainlink is looking slightly more bearish than what I just said for XRP, but overall in the shorter term, somewhat neutral. We're still kind of taking a bit of a break from this larger bearish trend, at least in the shorter term here. And as for support and resistance to watch out for, expect a lot of support in between 1520 to 1570, a little bit more support at around 1650 to 1660, and resistance at around 1740 to 1750. More resistance at around $19 to $20. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, like what I'm currently doing, then make sure to check out the links below the video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take these sort of trades to easily profit in the market, no matter what direction the price goes, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.